Following podcast may be explicit. One Joe Young presents Adventures from the Shed, a tabletop RPG podcast. You can find us online at adventuresfromtheshed.com. Hi, and you're finding us right here, Adventures from the Shed Online. We are on your favorite podcast app. Check us out for audio versions of things you'll hear here. Also YouTube, Facebook, you'll find us in those places and all of the socials. We are getting back to our podcast, getting gang together to play some role-playing games, Dungeons and Dragons stuff. We'll talk about that a little more in a moment. But for now, we're going to go around the table and say hi, and we'll start with that guy right there.
Hello, I'm Zeb. How's it going?
How's it going?
I guess that brings it up to me with no segue. I'm Eli. It's a pleasure to be here again.
I think Zeb was asking you, how's it going?
Oh, were you asking me specifically?
I am looking at you, yeah.
All right. Well, let me tell you that up next is this guy.
Speaking of this guy, his name is Randy, and that would be moi. And so I'm full of bliss. And what rhymes with bliss?
Hey, this is Chris. Thanks for the segue, Rando. Kind of bummed I can't see the flashing alarm clock, though. This angle is no good for me. I'm sorry. I'm out.
That's awesome.
Bye, guys. Where's it at?
Oh, yeah. That's not flashing. That's not the real Randy.
Did somebody set it?
That's not the real Randy.
Someone said it. They forgot.
Somebody actually set my clock. That wasn't me. I didn't do that.
That's crazy.
He's in the neighbor's house again.
The hamsters from your neighbor's house. All right, folks, we're getting back to Adventures from the Shed. Adventures from the Shed started back in 2014 with the Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition starter set, The Lost Mines of Phandelver. And as we're picking Adventures from the Shed back up here, we are going to be doing the more recent, when you guys help me, Dragons of Icespire Peak. That is the Dungeons and Dragons starter adventure that is in the Essentials kit. And that's what we're going to be playing using Roll20 as a technology for our virtual tabletop. But we are here in what is typically in the RPG world referred to as a session zero. Kind of we're just getting together, talking about the game, what we are thinking of playing, what we are going to play, making sure everyone's on the same page as far as what kind of adventure we're expecting to have, any rules of the table, things like home rules, anything like that we would want to throw in there. That's the kind of stuff typically in RPGs where you'll talk about it in tabletop RPGs. We'll talk about it in a very early session. That'd be what we're doing now. All that said, I want to kick it over to, let's say, Chris. Chris, you've done this kind of thing with your players before, right? You're a DM a lot of times.
Yeah, but man, I was trying to fill out some more stuff on my character. I was like, I hope he doesn't pick me first, because I went last in the intro.
That's exactly it.
You got burned on that one.
So here, let's actually use that as a segue into talking about. All right, so we're trying to do some character stuff to get ready, and you want to do that before you actually start rolling the dice for the adventure, right? So
yeah, definitely. So I don't have much about my character except obviously I have the name, I have a class, so I have a cleric, a hill dwarf cleric named Grimdall Mortharan. I kind of want him to be very positive. I kind of want him to have that, I don't know if you guys know who Jocko Willink is. You might have seen his name or on Joe Rogan or something. He's an ex-Navy SEAL guy that does
say no more.
He's got the extreme ownership, right? I want to have him be even if it's a bad situation, he's like, good, what else can we do? He doesn't care. He just negativity just brushes off him. So I kind of want to be that guy. And then he's almost, even though he's a cleric, I want him to have this treasure hunting attitude of he wants to find all these trinkets and relics and statues, especially if it has to deal with which I haven't picked yet, his faith. But anything, he'll take anything if it's oh, hey, that's from some evil god, but it's not an evil item. It's just a statue. But he wants to collect that. So I kind of want to have that treasure hunting attitude, even though he's just nice cleric that wants to help everybody out.
Cool. And that is I was just going to say, do you know what kind of dwarf? Because that's something that comes up in D&D, although I realize as I'm saying it isn't really part of the starter set. I don't think you get to pick hill dwarf or stone.
Oh yeah, I mean,
There
well, I mean, I
were
picked
two
it. I
ones.
picked Hill Dwarf.
Oh,
Yeah,
there is a choice. Okay.
yeah, I did have Hill Dwarf. So yeah.
Oh, cool. And is there anything about that from the character's perspective that plays into it?
I'm trying to think. There's racial features. I mean, obviously got the dark vision. He has dwarven resilience, so he's resistance against poison. He has dwarven combat training, so battle axe, hand axe, light hammer, that kind of thing. Tool proficiency with smithing tools, stone cunning, and then dwarven toughness. So he's got a little bit of, I guess, the standard dwarf stuff, really.
Yeah.
At least to
Well, I
my
mean,
thought.
Yeah, and to that point, the standard stuff, and I keep mentioning the starter set that you get with the starter set. You get a very narrow set of things to choose from because they want to make it as simple as possible to let
Right.
people get into the game. But that also means for folks that have played for a while, you may have a particular subset of a certain race in a certain area that you wouldn't even find in the starter set. So definitely very cool that we have somewhat of a limit, but we're all starting fresh in something that we haven't played before either. So it's one of those, it's kind of wide open as far as knowing where the adventure is going, but at least we're starting with a limited character so that we don't get lost twice at once. Speaking of lost, how are you today, Randy?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing today, Joe?
Lost
By the way,
without you, buddy.
where am I?
Where are you?
So the character that I'm choosing to play is actually probably my second D&D character I've ever made. But just, of course, going to start back at level 0 with everybody else. Dirk Locksworth. He is a dwarven fighter, also a hill dwarf as well. He is just a go-getter, adventure seeking. He doesn't care. He just wants gold in his pocket and a brew in his hand. And he just looking for adventure, as I said before. Back in the days when, with the other version of him, he saw an assassin like jump on someone's back and kill them. So he thought, oh, I can do that. So he climbed up onto the stairs and jumped on them, failed, still crushed them to death. So it's going to be a lot of nonsense of him trying to figure out if he can do other people's forms of combat as well as his own. But pretty much the same old stuff. Let's see. I don't know where all that other information comes from because I haven't used the character sheet in like a year. But
so what do you picture as a visual then? Any particular flair with an outfit, or just plain old black leather rogue outfit?
I got him with mason's tools, smith's tools. I know I got him using a sword, typical fashion, but it's pretty much his go-to. Just gonna go and beat stuff. No real super personality I can reveal at this time. It'll probably come as we go.
I cannot reveal or cannot think of yet.
Cannot think of yet.
Okay.
I feel like there was more pages than just the first page. So
it sounds way more impressive to say I cannot reveal it yet.
I cannot reveal it at this time.
Yeah.
He perks in animal handling, so that's pretty good. Intimidation, perception. So that's where I put all my positives. Oh, and survival. So the goal is to tame animals, apparently, and survive while doing so.
Speaking of survival, I'll put the newbie on the spot. Hey, Zeb.
Hello. How's it going? Again.
How does your character look?
Well, I went full on starter kit and chose a human because it is my first time playing D&D.
And you have a little bit of experience with being a human.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah. Thank you.
Welcome.
But I went with a human ranger. His entire personality is focused on his own self-preservation.
Nice.
He comes from a place where all the elderly folk in town have come down with what they called old timers disease, and his entire purpose in life is to prevent his own death.
Nice.
Yeah.
So he doesn't want to get old.
No, he does not. He does not want to get old. He doesn't want to be like those old timers.
The old timers disease.
Yeah.
So I see ranger.
Yeah, I chose ranger. So he's more of a an outdoorsman. He's with proficiencies in survival, perception, insight. It comes from he's a natural explorer with mountains as his sort of proficient area there, and he's been an axe man his whole life, cutting down logs, hunting, and just trying not to
Hunting
die.
trees. Hunting and slaughtering the hell out of those trees.
They didn't stand a chance.
I get it, Stan. Now, aside from an axe, does this ranger use like bow and arrow or
He
something
uses
else?
bow and arrow, yes. Longbow.
Cool.
Yep.
I just talked myself out of a segue. Eli, you go now. I had something until I made my own stupid comment.
So I am playing Jerem Free Bell. He is a
Bell.
Yes, Bell. Free Bell.
I didn't know we locked
He's-
Bell up. Tell Jason.
Free my Bell.
Hey,
He's a human as well. So we have two dwarves,
humans
two
and two-
humans.
yes.
We should consider calling our party 3 men.
Is that a short joke?
Yes, that is.
Technically, it's 2 short jokes.
Oh,
Dude, we could get away with it too. We're called the 3 men. They're like, we got 3 of them, so there's no more. And then, surprise, mother. There was a 4th
That
one.
was a surprise.
I'm a human druid working towards Circle of the Land mountains. The idea for this character was that at a young age, he got lost in the woods, and through his own wits, through the generosity of a kind family of rabbits, and nature's blessing itself, he managed to survive long enough to end up somewhere not home. He would like to return home, but he doesn't know where that is.
Don't worry, buddy. We'll find it. We'll take the rabbits with us.
He has the Outlander background, which gives him the Wanderer feature, which means I have an excellent memory for maps and geography, and always recall the general layout of terrain, settlements, etc.
Cool. I'm pretty sure that'll be helpful because in the virtual tabletop, there are plenty of maps and things where you could probably be able to ask questions that you could get some good insight into because of the character trait.
I believe it. I wanted the background for the feature because I thought it was hilarious. My character got lost, and now that
Good
he's a
at
grown
maps.
up, now that he's a grown up, he can't get lost. He just doesn't know how to get back home. The idea mechanically for this druid is that he is less aggressive, less combat focused, and more in support and utility. So
Okay.
good luck, have fun.
Good luck.
I'm gonna be here in the back.
Is there in the choices for the starter, is there the option for different I'm going to say the wrong word, paths, like the path where you can turn into a bear or a wolf or whatever?
Okay.
I'm trying to remember that there's schools or something for clerics, whereas
So
the cleric has domains in
the different subclasses.
Yeah.
I'm
they have
not
different, don't
sure
they have,
the
like, different things like moon and
Yeah, so you have
that's what I'm
Circle
losing,
of-
and I feel like such an idiot. Like
Yeah,
I could
Circle of
just
the
open
Moon,
it.
which focuses around the wild shape aspects, and then there's Circle of the Lands, which gives you a variety of spells in addition to your normal spell casting that reflects the land that you come from, as well as different benefits from being in that specific terrain.
And when do you make that choice in the druid's progression?
I believe for the druid it comes around 3rd level.
Okay, so it should happen during this adventure. I think this adventure goes
Yeah.
to 4th level. So that's cool. Do you know which circle you're looking for?
Circle of the Land, mountains, because I like the mountains. They're cool. They're rocks.
Cool.
I like rocks.
Me too.
Right.
Love them.
Yeah. Favorite things.
So now that you guys have heard a little bit about the other characters, one of the things we'd like to maybe establish is some reason for the characters to know each other, you know, at least a couple of them. You're all going to be in the same place at the same time as the adventure starts, and there's a presumption, or it's taken as fact, that the characters probably all know one another, just to make it easy on the adventure starting. Randy?
Can I pop one thing in here real fast?
Go
I
for
figured how to actually work D&D Beyond again. It took me a while. So real fast. He has chainmail, a great sword, 2 hand axes on his side, and let's see. For some reason, I chose a whip as well as smith's tools is what it was. A shovel. Just to quickly go through this real fast. Then I have a fighting style, which is great weapon fighting, which is thus the great sword. Dark vision, dwarven resilience, dwarven combat training, tool proficiency, stone cunning, and dwarven toughness. Just to finish up the characters' details. Sorry about that.
No problem. I wish I had thought of asking you what he might carry when I was asking about what he might be wearing, because the way you just described that, it sounded like he's carrying, you know, like a snap-on toolbox or something.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine just straight up a toolbox, like a big red standard toolbox.
He's Tim the Dirt Man Taylor.
There it is. Yeah.
He hits a button, this thing pops out. He grabs his whip.
What's your class again, Randy?
Fighter.
Okay.
And that's one thing. What I want to do is shift a little bit and talk a little bit about the technology. And I think about it as Randy's talking and mentioning the D&D Beyond, because one of the things we're using is a D&D Beyond integration with Roll20. It's a web extension that somebody wrote. You can look up Beyond 20. That's the name of the extension. You can find that. It's actually pretty cool. But in doing so, one of the things I was asking is if everybody could get their character added to what's called a campaign in D&D Beyond. So I created a campaign and asked the folks to put their characters in. And if you hadn't guessed by now, it's Randy that didn't do that yet.
I thought I did that already.
So
I'm sorry.
picking on Randy. In here, I have Grimdall, Jerem, and Sherman, or Doc.
Hmm.
And since you were the one that was, there are 3, and you're the one whose name I did not see.
Yeah, it's
I'm doing that.
okay. So I see my character that I created on the characters screen, but I was never able to get it to connect my.
Click on that link that I put in the messenger thing there.
I was just going to say, I'll put the link there, but Chris got it. When you
Pop
click
that open.
that, it should
Okay.
join
Make
a campaign.
number 1.
There we go.
All right, and then I'm just going to refresh my screen. And there's Dirk. Ooh, Dirk and Grimdall are twins. You guys took the same avatar picture.
I'll have
Oh
to
my
change
god,
that.
that's hilarious.
Long lost brothers.
Are you guys brothers? No.
Brother!
Yes.
Brothers. So part of that I was talking about with the D&D Beyond, it's one of the things that I think, and I want you other 3 previously played dudes to help me out with it, but I think it's been very useful, D&D Beyond, when we've played any Dungeons and Dragons games. Like, I like the character sheet. I kind of like the way it's laid out and the editor and stuff. What are you guys' opinions on it?
It's a very useful piece of tech. They're trying to deliver one specific service, and they're doing it well. Well, I'd say adequately, but I have my own hangups.
You know, I agree with that. With the different programs we've used, it's, for me at least, not the best, but for what it is, I think it does a really good job, like I was saying. Chris?
Yeah, we're talking about D&D Beyond, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's
the one from Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro.
Yeah, I think it works. I think the character stuff's great. It makes things a lot easier for people. You don't have to think. You don't have to add things up, right? It's very streamlined.
Yeah.
You don't have to search through a pile of books to figure out what the hell's going on with your character. When you level up, it's like, here's your choices, buddy. So I think it's pretty nice.
But I like looking through the books.
Oh yeah, don't be wrong. I'd like to do that too. But if you're playing for people, especially people like, hey, I don't really know what I'm doing, I think it's great. You know.
Very much so.
And I got, just as a little reference here, I just put on the screen this Jerem Freebell's character sheet here. But go ahead. somebody was starting to talk and I interrupted them.
I just saying that I agree. I think it's D&D Beyond's awesome. Once you remember how to use it.
Yeah, and that's a good point too, because although it is kind of easy to use, they've got an app, you can go through the browser, you have different ways to access it, and they look different and feel different. So if you happen to get used to creating a character on your phone, this screen is going to look quite a bit different because this is from a browser window instead. But that's cool. All right, then was that the right button? I'll figure this stuff out sooner or later. There we go.
Watch.
Hey,
We're all learning things.
So that brings me to questions around you guys and what you may have chosen for your best ability scores. Where'd you put the highest numbers? For that matter, how do we generate them? Was there an array, or did it say to roll it? I honestly can't remember.
I just thought we were using the standard array, so that's what I chose.
Same here.
Fantastic.
Yep.
That's what I thought, but I
It's
couldn't
solid pick.
remember the page I shared about creating the character, if it said anything special.
Well, it's what we always use, so that's
Yeah.
was my gut choice.
So let's go through, because I have them in order here. I'll just ask you guys what you picked for your high and low stats and why. So first, it would be Randy Dirk. You're the last one that showed up in here.
Oh, geez. What page should I be looking at? Sorry.
It's the main stats: strength, dexterity, wisdom.
Yeah. So I put 14 in strength. Wait. So should it be
Like, what's the highest one you put?
should it be 17 to 14s? I get added and subtracted because of my dwarfness. And
Exactly.
okay, so the highest
That's
I
why I'm
put,
like, just tell me where you put the numbers.
the highest
one.
I believe I put it with Constitution. So
Okay,
it's
so
+3 to my
Especially as a
Constitution.
fighter, you have a decent bonus to, or better hit dice, I think. To
Yeah,
start with any
wanted to
weapon.
get that health going. Yep.
Yeah. Cool.
And then I think I put in strength next. And then I wanted to be kind of wise, even though I'm pretty much not. So I put in wisdom. Then
Your character can be
intelligence.
that, right?
Was not concerned about charisma that much. So, but it's at a 10. So +0. I don't know what the modifiers that change it is, so I can't tell exactly what the numbers were. And then lastly, dexterity is an 8, so it's a -1 because I don't really plan on doing too much craziness with dexterity. I run up and I hit stuff.
So, kind of the heat sponge, the
Hit sponge.
Fighter, where you're just going to plan to get hit more. You get the
Yes.
Constitution up there.
Yep.
Plan on wearing heavy armor and.
Currently
big shield.
chainmail, but he plans to find better if he can.
Now you mentioned, I think it was a two-handed sword, but no shield.
Just great sword, and then he has the ability to use his 2 axes if he needed to. So
Okay, cool.
tries to keep it fluid, so he doesn't have to like put up a big sword and a shield. Plus, it's with great weapon fighting. I think it was. It's using. He gets a bonus for using 2 hands on a single-handed weapon. Trying to see where that's at. Features and traits. No. Where did I see that at?
Is it fighter proficiency?
2-weapon fighting, actions in combat, 2 weapons fighting. It doesn't say any details on here for some reason, but it was supposed to do something.
That's where it is.
Yeah.
Cool. Grimdall.
Yeah, I mean, so I got a cleric, so I made sure my wisdom was good, and Constitution. I'm a dwarf, so I get +2 racial bonus for my Constitution and +1 for the wisdom for a hill dwarf. So kind of even that out. So I got 16 for those 2 stats, and then
That's why
I wanted the guy to beat a little bit of ass. So strength is 13, so I got a +1. The dex +1, 12 out there. I didn't go great on the charisma, even though he's a cleric, but I'm like, I'm not a paladin, so that's fine. So I make sure the wisdom was good.
Yeah.
And then intelligence is 0, so nothing crazy there. So he's got the minus for the charisma, but I'm not trying to win, hearts and minds kind of. He's trying to heal people and do what I got to do for my, for my god.
Doesn't matter if they like you as long as they're healthy.
Well, that's right.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny though. I mean, I still have a +1 in persuasion, even though I get a -1 in my charisma.
Yeah.
I have a proficiency in it, so
Nothing evens out in the end with this guy.
it's like, hey, why don't you help us out? Yeah, if you feel like it, whatever.
You know how to play people. You're just kind of bad at it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You got
That's
Jerem
great.
next.
Jerem, so my highest stat is, surprise, surprise, my wisdom, being a druid.
Wisdom.
I got pretty even across the board, honestly, but I am playing a human. This is standard human, not variant human, so that's +1 to everything
Yeah.
in my stats. But my low stats are actually my strength, because I don't want to be engaging in melee combat anyways, and who needs to be strong when you are self-sufficient? And the other one is charisma, which is actually my lowest at a 9. I was raised by rabbits in the woods. Like, I don't know how people. Are you kidding me?
Rabbits don't get along well with people in general.
It took until puberty for me to realize I wasn't a rabbit.
Nice. But you,
Don't-
first time
Don't
you
even
saw the
ask
mirror,
how
and
I
you
know how
didn't
to
have
speak
any-
language. I had a weird upbringing, all right?
I do love the idea of the rabbits, though, and I'm hoping that there is built into the adventure somewhere some form of rabbit, and if not, of course, I will have to do that before the end of it.
I like how everybody in the group speaks Dwarvish. That's awesome.
That's
Yes, I forgot to mention my languages. I can speak the common tongue, Dwarvish, Gnomish, and of course, Druidic, because I'm a druid.
nice. Who's getting cried at?
Yeah, right.
My druid sense is telling me that there is a child requesting attention.
They're upset that you changed the time on the clock.
Yeah, and the angle, so we can't see
Yeah.
it. Totally, that's what it is.
All right. Well, let's hear from Sherman while Randy has stepped away for a minute.
Yeah, no problem.
Sherman.
So dexterity was what I went with as my top stat. I feel like it made sense, as a guy chopping down wood. Not, it's more finesse than it is strength, right?
Yeah,
And
it matters which way the tree's going to fall.
exactly. Yeah, and my lowest stat is actually Constitution, because I'm feeble and afraid.
The guy who lives in fear, yes.
Yes, the
I love
the
it.
fear of death is coming, and it's that I don't want it to happen, but something tells me it will.
Yeah.
I speaking to I also know Dwarvish. Yeah, that was my additional language, but I do also have a favorite enemy, and that presented me with a language as well, which is Elvish.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say dwarves.
That would have been hilarious.
We don't have his favorite enemy in the group. Let's see if there are any elves out there in the adventure. I would have to guess so. As a starter adventure, it's got to be elves in there somewhere, right?
There's about to not be.
There were elves, but he got into town early.
Not if I have anything to say about it.
Cool. I'm gonna hit that.
I got a question for Eli's character. Actually, what was the choice to go with the fog cloud as your spell? Like, what was the thought process on that one?
I want him to be the land that he occupies. If you notice that the other two spells that I took, my cantrips were control flames and shape water.
Yep.
I want most of his utility spells to be about altering or manipulating the world around him to achieve an end.
Okay.
It's
Very cool.
yeah, it should be fun. It'll be a different type of caster that I haven't played in ages.
Yeah, it should make for some interesting strategy and planning on some of that stuff.
Somebody start a fire. What? Start a fire.
Just
Why? Because I can't make the fire, but if I have it.
That's hilarious.
Oh yeah. What were you saying, Joe, before
I
question
interrupted.
time?
Is he frozen?
Oh,
Or is
God.
he just...
I think he may be frozen.
I didn't know if
think
his audio was bad too.
Meanwhile,
Yeah.
back at the players.
Still recording though. Still
I mean,
recording.
If it's still recording, then we can keep going, I guess. Oh, I also did find that I don't get my druid circle at 3rd level. I get it at 2nd.
Oh, that's good. That's
Yeah.
good for us.
Oh.
And he's out. Still recording though, because it's StreamYard. Yay!
Yep. You gotta love it. Oh, his internet dropped.
Are you freaking serious? Oh my
Yeah,
god.
there he is.
Oh.
That's hilarious.
His internet is no longer dropped. It has been picked up.
I think something just clicked off and back on because I had no connection on my phone and on my computer, and one's wired and one's wireless. So something clicked off and came right back. It was almost like a dip in the power, but none of the lights flickered. I could just hear it.
How can I cut the power? They're just animals, man.
Speaking of coming right back, Randy's back.
Hi.
Just rabbits, you mean?
Just rabbits. Just
So-
a couple of knocks chewing on the power cables.
We have this camera in our kitchen, so my wife can occasionally see if what's going on at home, even when no one's there for some reason. A light comes on around it that's red, and my son was crying because he got scared because of it.
It was the Eye of Sauron, and he was worried.
Pretty much.
He has the
Sarah,
ring. He
you
did.
gotta
Right, in
tell
color.
her that Sting does not approve of her turning on that red light because
What
apparently
you
it
need
makes
to
the
do
baby with all the
is
screaming.
what you need to do is install a speaker next to the camera, so that way she can just tell the child, "Get out of the kitchen."
Yes.
Put him back in bed. Hopefully he'll stay. What I miss.
I
Some character stuff.
Yeah, character stuff.
Yeah.
Joe, I'm not sure if you heard, but I learned that I get my Circle of the Land for being a druid at 2nd level, not 3rd.
Second, cool. Yeah, I did not hear that part. Yeah, I was going to go to one of the things I forgot to ask Chris was something that he actually just asked you about, Jeremy, with your spells. And I forgot to ask Chris, what'd you do as far as the cleric for level
Yeah,
one?
So cantrips, I got Light and Sacred Flame, kind of like some classics. And then I went with some healing stuff for sure. Granted, I know he has 2 slots, but I'm able to learn more spells. So I got Bless, Cure Wounds, Guiding Bolt, Healing Word, Sanctuary, and Shield of Faith. Even though I can only use 2 of those per day. But
That's cool.
it's a little bit of offensive and definitely some healing stuff, for sure.
Yeah. Now, I'm curious because I know we've had more than one shtick on where you cast light, right? So, somebody, I had a character that always casts light on their shield. And, some people want to put light on like a rock or something. Does Grimdahl have a holy symbol or something they usually uses for a lantern?
I haven't picked one out yet. I'll have to think of what I want it to be. It'll probably be because he follows Moradin, so it's probably be like a hammer medallion or something like a what the heck's that called in Norse mythology? I can't remember what it is. I can't remember the name of it.
Thor's hammer,
Yeah.
Mjolnir.
Yeah, but no, what's the actual pendant? There's another name for the pendant that kind of looks like that.
That I
remember the name
wouldn't
of
be
it right
sure.
now.
I do
I'll
not
figure it out.
know.
I'll
It
look it up.
definitely needs to be looked up now.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I can't. I have friends that have them, and I can't remember the name of it.
no, that's cool.
Same.
What I mean is, if you weren't looking it up, I'm sure Randy was
I'm
already
definitely doing it.
typing. We're there.
Furious click clacks.
Yeah. But,
I don't have the mechanical keyboard.
the other thing I was going to mention, so we've got with the druid and the cleric, they get spells right away. Neither fighter or ranger has any kind of spell at level 1. However, there you have some things in your class that are specific to your class. Randy, you mentioned a little bit about the great weapon fighting, but is there anything else as being a fighter right at level 1 that special? Special to Randy? I see Eli shaking his head. I mean, I know technically the answer is pretty much no, but
So it's pretty much you choose a fighting style, and the fighting style I chose, of course, was the great weapon fighting. And if I actually go and click class features, I could have told you that you can reroll 1s or 2s on damage dice with melee weapons wielding with 2 hands. And he also has second wind, so once per short rest, you can use a bonus action to regain 1d10 HP plus 1. There is racial traits as well, which we went through: dark vision, dwarven resilience, dwarven combat training, tool proficiency, stone cutting, and dwarven toughness, and no feats currently at this time.
And Zeb, for the ranger, you mentioned favorite enemy. I know that's a ranger thing. What else is there level 1 specific to ranger that you know of?
It's mostly passive, so like with the whole favorite enemy thing, it's you get an advantage on survival checks as well as intelligence checks to recall information about them. But the other big thing is the proficiencies within survival, perception, insight, and the natural explorer, which gives you a favored terrain type, which was mountains.
Cool.
And you get proficiency bonuses are doubled for proficient skills when you make intelligence or wisdom checks related to it. For traveling more than an hour in the terrain, in your chosen terrain, difficult terrain doesn't slow your group's travel. You can't become lost except by magical means. You remain alert to danger. You move more stealthily. Everything like that. As long as we're in a mountain.
So I noticed your character's name is Doc, but I mean, I guess he's still a surgeon since he makes incisions from like 50 feet away.
Yeah. I just like the name Doc. I was like, yeah, it's a good name, right? It's just Doc.
Nice.
It's got a nice ring to it.
He operates on the battlefield.
Yeah, from far away.
Yeah, it's one of those, the ironic nicknames where you call the big guy tiny. He's called Doc as well.
He cuts down trees.
Smalls.
Yeah, he hunts wood. He cuts down trees. His name's Doc.
Nice.
Certainly makes sense. So we've heard a little more about the characters, and I know I mentioned, or when I asked last time about character associations, I know Chris thought of asking Eli about spells, and then I got an internet problem, and here we are back over again. Any ideas yet on how the characters might know each other?
Oh, right. That was the first point.
Before I melted and came back, yeah.
Well, I'm not sure about the dwarves, but somebody else who's acquainted with nature. I mean, it seems fairly obvious. Just, hey, what are you doing in my woods?
Yeah, I mean, just could have came across each other while I was hanging out in my preferred zone, the mountain.
You trying to get home, bud?
Yeah.
It's dangerous out here. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
Except for the rabbits.
They're friends.
Look at the bones.
The dunes. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I'm not sure how my character would know the dwarves offhand. If anybody wants to toss out ideas.
Yeah, it's easy for the dwarves to know each other than the humans to know each other. Now, maybe it's probably a better chance we would know Doc's character, and then we would have the connection with Jerem on that end, as an acquaintance. But
we do all know Dwarvish, so there's got to be a reason for that, right?
Maybe we meet up regularly at the Dwarvish Rune Convention.
Yeah.
It's a language appreciation event.
Maybe I asked Jerem to help me on an archaeological dig because I was looking for something. Hey, can you move this earth for me, buddy?
I'm waiting for something like the humans learned dwarf on a dare.
They lost a bet.
Rock, paper, scissors, both lost somehow.
I was like, do you think you could toss us? Go for it.
Yeah.
See, now I'm wondering how I learned Dwarvish, and I think the the idea that I like for Jerem in particular is that I learned Common from my rabbit family somehow, but they couldn't teach me any other languages. And if I was going to go back to being with people, I needed to know more languages. So they introduced me to a family of moles who taught me Dwarven. and their estranged cousin who taught me Gnomish.
Oh, man.
Huh.
Yeah.
Seems that my character only associates with subterranean creatures.
That's where I was thinking about that. And
little caveman.
For being druid, not that a druid couldn't be subterranean, but you had nothing that wasn't like a rabbit cave in the backstory, right? It was just above ground, it felt like.
I mean, it works out for dwarves and gnomes to be underground, so
Right.
It's true. Yeah. Instead of being into like trees and stuff, you're more into like mushrooms and things
Rocks.
you find underground. Yeah.
I'm going Circle of the Land Mountains. I really like rocks and dirt.
Me too. That's how we know each other. Rocks and dirt.
And one day while we were, finding cool rocks and dirt, we came across a dwarf.
Yeah, I mean, it only makes sense. It's only the natural order of things. Dwarves, mountains,
Just came burrowing up from the ground. He looks at us. Oh, I've dug too high.
He's the mycotic master.
Boys.
think Dirk and Grimdall probably are like that odd couple that have just been friends for a long time. And,
Oh yeah, totally.
like, there's totally runes over there. I'm like, oh no, there's totally runes over there. We're going that way.
Yeah, I'm always bringing them on my adventures. Be like, look, we got to find this relic. I need to find it. Need it for my collection.
Then you walk 10 feet your direction, and I start walking mine. Then I get bored and head your way.
So is Doc really going to be long range only kind of guy? Is that the plan for that dude?
He's long range and then just a hand axe. It's his other thing. Preferably long range, considering that his constitution is so weak and he's so afraid of death.
Yeah, okay. That'll be interesting.
I mean, if somebody else needs to be up there with Dirk, I mean, I can have a 15 AC. Like,
no, my guy's pretty tough too.
I just can't hit things.
Dirk is a collector of scars, so if he needs to be up there by himself, it's fine. Keep throwing the hit points.
Now Grimgall's pretty tough. He can take it.
Is he expecting to be up there in the front?
Grimgall? I mean, yeah, that's fine. You know, he's not like a magic. You know, he's not a mage, right? He's fine at getting in the fray.
I guess one of the things I didn't ask about with characters, and this is appropriate here, armor. Like, you typically think dwarf, cleric, chainmail. Is that the case?
Oh, totally. Yeah, I got the chainmail rolling. So I'm not stealth. I'm not sneaking around. I'll tell you that right now.
And I can't remember if you mentioned a shield.
I do have a shield as well. Yep.
Okay, cool. And then let's just go to the other dwarf. Dirk, what you probably said what you had for armor, but I made some comment about rogue black leather, so I'm sure I didn't listen to what you were saying. So go for it.
I think it just gave me the option of chainmail to start out with on the character builder, so that's what I currently have. But I'm also open to like get more as soon as possible. I'm trying to see what my there it is. Yeah, chainmail.
It's
Make sure you actually enable that, Randy, so it actually counts for your AC.
Yeah,
that's a good point too.
I had to go in and do that myself a little bit, a little while ago.
Yeah, and if you pick any weapons, I think you have to hit equip for it to show up as an action, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. What does Doc wear for armor?
Just hide, rather medium armor. Hide
armor.
That's what he wears and what he does.
Yep, hides.
I hate it.
Really does not. He's not super jazzed about all this.
Just like on the front and on the back, it's got a sign that says "Do not look."
Yeah.
Do not see.
Nothing to see here. Cool. And what does Jerem wear as the druid?
He's wearing leather armor. I like to think that he has his own, homemade clothes. But on top of that, he's got like a big, chunky leather poncho.
Yeah,
that's what I'm seeing.
Made from his rabbit friends.
No, they're family.
Is his totem a rabbit foot? What is it?
No, that's horrible.
No, it's
made out of the badgers from down the street.
Yeah, there you go. The warring badger clan.
We weren't at war. They were just, jerks. Always digging into our tunnels and whatnot.
Just badgering people as usual.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
See, he gets it.
Yeah. I know what's up.
Man. Badger poncho is.
Oh, that's awesome. Sign me up. Put me down for one of those.
I was going to say that could be the name of a band too.
Oh yeah, totally. I'm in jail.
I can see it.
That's a cool name.
Do you guys occasionally sign up for Mortal Wombat?
No.
Just a bit outside.
A swing and a foul ball. I mean, you made contact.
Yeah, you hit it. It's just. I thought it was funny. It was dumb but funny.
Hey, there were no boos. I'll take it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, you got it. You got it there.
We got plenty of booze.
Yeah.
I got plenty of booze and plenty of booze.
Nice.
We're playing.
So the other thing I wanted to cover was, and I mentioned at the beginning, I won't show too much of it, but the Roll20 virtual tabletop. We are using that. One of the biggest reasons I wanted to try it again is because the Dungeons and Dragons folks and Roll20 folks have kind of a partnership where they you can buy the module and play it within Roll20, and it has all the stuff pre-configured, things like dynamic lighting and all the monsters and everything are already in it, so it's pretty cool. So when we go to play, that'll be on there. And I guess what I really wanted to ask from you guys, is there anything that you found in Roll20 that you had any questions about before we got started, or anything that wasn't working right? Because I think we covered a lot of it when we talked previously.
I mean, I think since we're using D&D Beyond for the rolls, it'll be pretty easy, you know. Should be too big of a deal, right? If everything's getting pushed through that, should be fairly simple.
Yeah, I'm with Chris here. I haven't seen anything in Roll20 that should be an issue player side. It looks like it's just
difficult. Yeah.
It looks like it's mostly going to be a workload for you, Joe.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, that does remind me, though, from our from a prior get together where we were just discussing the Roll20 to make sure everything was working.
Yep.
The bits that you gave to demonstrate what you can do to show us information, I'm still seeing actions in combat, other actions.
Oh, I actually just shared those yesterday as I was going through, because there are things that I think are useful for everyone to be able to see. And in order for everyone to be able to see them, I have to right click on it. And this is under the journal section of Roll20. Once we're in there as a DM, if I wanted to share, which I did, stuff from the DM screen, like what actions you can take in combat, and there are some useful tables and other actions that you can do. For me, at least, it's good for anybody to be able to look at that. If we were sitting at a table, the way it would typically go is one or everyone would have their own copy of the player's handbook. And when you have a question, you just hand it to the other person so they can see it, right? But the tricky part in Roll20 is, by design, everything is hidden by default. So I have to go in and let it tell you, or let it express what it wants you to see, Randy to see, Zeb, Chris, because I can set them all individually, or I can set all players. So I just do it as show to all players, and that's something that I'll probably be doing several times throughout, because there are player handouts, and it's like if we were sitting at the table physically and maybe there's a note from the mayor and I hand you a piece of paper with handwriting on it. It's that idea in Roll20. So it has that feature, and for each thing I've got to essentially right click on it and show to the players. The biggest thing, and I'm going to voice a tiny gripe here in case anyone ever hears it out there in Roll20 land, but the biggest thing that I don't like is you can't do it from a higher level. You have to do it on an individual item. So I wanted to share everything under the DM screen information category, but I can't. I have to go to each individual thing and share it. Yeah, so if there's 10 things in there I want to share, I've got to, click 20 times because it's a right and a left click on each one. That's first world problems, folks, for sure.
We'll just have to consider those role play opportunities in game.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone hold your breath.
On the note of things not working the way we want them to, there's another one in the tab running the adventure first session character creation. I don't think it's all that relevant anymore, but
it isn't. I was going to unshare that one.
Nothing in there.
Okay. I wonder if I can change it. No, the only thing it gives me, whatever. I'll figure that one out eventually.
Like I said, I don't think that one's particularly relevant anymore, but it's something that I did notice here.
Yeah, and that was one of the first things that I saw that I'm like, I'm sure that's going to be useful. I'm going to share that. And then I went and looked at it, and it's really more of a primer of somebody who doesn't know anything yet. Like a newbie to RPG saying what a dungeon master is, what a player is. I feel like that character creation was like, here's what creating a character is without actually going through it. So I agree with you. It's not useful for actual character creation. It's useful as a summary of what character creation is.
All right. I didn't have anything else then. If anybody else has any questions, comments, concerns.
questions. The 4 C's.
Somebody
currently-
has a concern in the
I
background.
hear my son losing his mind again.
Roxanne stopped by again. Damn it. Yeah. Randy clicked the
Yep.
mute button on the kid and it didn't take.
We'll fix it in post, and by post I mean probably post recording.
Yeah. Oh man. All right, so we're getting ready to wrap this one up. When we get back together next week, we're going to actually start the adventure right from the point where I'll say what the module's about and read pretty much the opening narrative text for the players. So that's where we're going to get started next week. But for this week, I think we can kind of wrap this one up. And you know what? Because I had the internet problem, I got to get that other thing ready again. So anyway, in the meantime, we can wrap this one up and we can all say bye.
Bye-bye.
See you next time.
Adios.
The preceding podcast was brought to you by
We're the
Mojo.
Dutch.
You can find us online at adventuresfromtheshed.com.
Roxanne, you don't have to wear the red dress. Oh. Bye.